Hello everyone, myself Silpi Maitra, Assistant Professor of English in Falakata College, Alipurduar under North Bengal University. Today's lesson plan is based on John Keats's poem Ode to Autumn, which is in Core Course 9 under British Romantic Literature in Unit 3. This particular poem is for 4th semester students of English Honours. Ode to Autumn was composed by Keats in September 1819. This particular poem was inspired by Keats's enjoyment of the beauty of autumn in course of his Sunday's walk through the stubble fields of Winchester. Joshua Reynolds, the celebrated painter, the poet wrote, "How beautiful the season is now! How fine the air! A temperate sharpness about it! Really, without joking, chaste weather, dian skies. I never liked stubble fields so much as now. Age better than the chilly green of the spring. Somehow, a stubble field looks warm, in the same way that some pictures look warm. This struck me so much in my Sunday's walk that I composed upon it. Season of mist and mellow fruitfulness." And therefore, we get the first few lines of the Ode to Autumn. Season of mist and mellow fruitfulness, close bosom friend of the maturing sun, conspiring with him how to load and bless. This is the season of mist because autumn is considered to be the season of mist. And why it is mellow? Because it is ripe. And it is an intimate friend of sun. There is the fertility image here. The sun and the autumn join together to ripen the fruits. Conspiring with him, we can say that both of them combine for the same purpose, and hence the suggestion is of fertilization through which the contract between the sun and the autumn happens. Mist and ripe fruits. In the bright sunshine, various fruits including grapes, apples, gourds and hazelnuts grow in abundance and ripen. Here, Keats has given us a variety of natural imagery, and therefore the readers take a toll on the imaginative drive, as if they could actually see and visualize the beauty of nature in front of their eyes. Later, flowers bloom in the season and bees gather honey, thinking that the season is not yet over. The spirit of autumn is embodied in the various harvesting operations of the season. The harvest is seen sitting on the granary floor and winnowing the corn with a mind free from cares because of the rich harvest. The reaper is found falling asleep in the midst of his work. He is content, he is happy, and at the same time he is fatigued and tired. And also due to the strong smell of the poppies, because it induces to sleep. In the evening, the gleaner is found returning home with the load of pickings on the head and crossing the brook, which is a small river. The cider maker seems to be quite busy at this work of manufacturing wine from apples, because this is also a creative work that he is being engaged into. He is making wine from the apples. If we consider the beauty of autumn, we can also say that this particular autumn season has a music and rhythm of its own. Although we cannot compare it with the music of the spring, because both these seasons are different, therefore it should not be compared with one another. And both these seasons have their own beauty submerged within themselves. In the evening, when the sun sets and the sky and the fields are tinged with rosy hue, a perfect color to induce the readers as well as to attract them, as if we visualize the beauty in front of our eyes once again. The music of autumn can be heard. The plaintive humming of the little gnats in the needs in the river, the bleating of young lambs from the hills, the chirping of the crickets, the whistling of the robin red beast in the garden, and the twitter of the swallows in the sky, all these make up the music of autumn. And autumn is presented in an overwhelming manner. Autumn is itself presented in a full-fledged manner, a full-fledged season which has its beauty and music of its own, and it is incomparable. It cannot be compared with any other season. Autumn, according to Keats, is the season of mist and ripe fruits. Its 3 stanzas show a gradual progress of the poet's thinking procedure. In the first, autumn is viewed as the season itself, doing the season's work, bringing all the fruits of the earth to maturity. Autumn, in cooperation with the sun, or with the combination of the sun's energy, makes the grapes and the apples and the gourds and the nuts ripe. Autumn also causes honey flowers to blossom beautifully, mesmerizingly, inviting the bees to come in search of honey. In the second paragraph, autumn is personified as a woman, and it takes a woman's shape and is present at the various activities of the harvest and wine pressing. First, autumn is the harvest, sitting carelessly on the granary floor. Secondly, she is the reaper, tired and fatigued with her work, and therefore she had fallen asleep. She is lulled to sleep by the sweet smell of the poppy seeds. Thirdly, she is a gleaner, carrying home the corn she had picked up during the day. And this is the life or the human cycle is shown in general in these various activities of human life. In the last stanza, during the close of the year, which is also associated with sunset, the songs of spring are over and the night is falling, and therefore we can ensure that the darkness is also coming to engulf our souls. But the sense of sadness is merged in the feeling of the continuous processes of nature, which eternally renews itself in insect, in human, in animals and birds. While the ode comes to a conclusion, we find the solemn note ringing high among our spirits. In the twilight of the evening, one can hear the mournful sounds of gnats by the riverside, the loud bleating of the lambs on the hills, and the whistle of the robin redbreast, and the twittering of the swallows. This particular poem also embodies the fruitfulness and fulfillment of autumn. Autumn is personified as a full-grown entity, lingering and dying, because it is also measured and confined by the dictums of time. It is a season of dying as well as of fulfilling. And here also we find the presence of binary opposition, because it is the season of death as well as the season of regeneration. Futility and fertility are connected very well in this particular poem, and we must thank the poet for using such a rich imagery for this particular poem. These paradoxical qualities make up the personality of autumn as indicated by Keats. The thought of death is also present in an unobtrusive manner in the bare stubble and sunset of the last stanza. But the sense of sadness is merged in the feeling of the continuous life of nature, which eternally renews itself in insect and animal and bird, and also in the human lives. The personality depicted in the three stanzas is related to the mood of sadness and the theme of ripeness. Keats gives here a very ordered concept of the season. Ripeness, which is the theme of the poem, has its own joys and sorrows, has its dimensions and complex for itself. It is full and soft as well as acrid, rough and vigorous. It has clammy cells, the fume of poppies as well as the stubble plains. This poem is, however, not a mere catalogue of the sights and sounds of autumn. It is beyond that. It is something more. The poem embodies the very spirit of autumn. The fruitfulness and ripeness of autumn are presented through various concrete and sensuous images. Fruits and vegetables are ripe to the core. The corn is ripe for harvesting. There is plenty and fertility everywhere. The season is big with rich increase. But ripeness is also a prelude to death. And there is the suggestion of tragic destiny for the season in its fruitfulness and ripeness. When we speak about Keats's romance, we should know that the elements of romance predominates in the poetry of Keats. The scenes that are present in his poetry are not remote from everyday life. They are sometimes related with the everyday life and sometimes speaks about an utopian world which is led in some dim, distant past or in the Middle Ages or in some dreamland of beauty. Keats is also known for his intricate sensuousness. Keats is, as Matthew Arnold says, abundantly and enchantingly sensuous. He himself claims in one of his letters, "Oh, for a life of sensations rather than of thoughts." He believed, like Wordsworth, in the importance of sensation and its pleasures. But for him, sensation included taste, touch, smell, sight, and hearing, while for Wordsworth it included only sight and hearing. Sensation for Keats, as for Wordsworth, was far more cognitive. Keats's sense of beauty was or can be termed as one of the major purposes or thematic preoccupations of his poetry. The development of Keats's mind and art is nothing but the development of the concept of beauty. Whenever we consider this particular ode, that is Ode to Autumn, we can find how intensely and how with in-depth study that he had presented the beauty of autumn from the very beginning. Because as Keats has beautifully defined the final idea of beauty in the concluding lines of Ode on a Grecian Urn, beauty is truth, truth beauty, that is all ye know on earth and all ye need to know. Thus we must know that the concept of beauty is the concept of art, and he embraces both the concept of beauty and art along with the sorrows and sufferings that are present in this ugly world which is unpleasant. And here the never changing truths of life are presented, but with a sensuous domain of thought. And whatever is true is beautiful, and whatever is beautiful is eternal. And so is Keats's Ode to Autumn. Thank you everyone. I hope all of you liked my lesson plan and will be benefited from this short lesson plan.